Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Today we're in Telford at the International Centre for Scale ModelWorld with our friends down there, TMC, which is why I'm wearing a TMC shirt. And also that's for something that's going to be coming up on the channel in the not too distant future, so stay tuned because it's a big multi-channel event that I was part of and it's genuinely quite exciting. So today, this is a huge model show. There are lots of traders, different clubs with a huge variety of different models. And when I say it's huge, it's 3 separate halls. It is absolutely colossal. So I'm here with Lozz, and we're going to go have a look and find our top things from the show.
We're here with TMC, who we know from model railway circles. They've got some really cool model kits here, so we're going to have a look.
There's so much stuff, it's unreal. The thing that I like the most and actually makes me the most unhappy is this Porsche Lamborghini. Now the reason I'm unhappy about this is because I was offered one of these by the company to review and do a video of, and I said no. And now I see how big it is and I've seen some of the detail in it, I'm like, I mucked up. Because this is huge, and it's on special offer with TMC at the moment because it's only £500 as opposed to the some 800 and something that it normally is. And that's the reason I said no, guys, to being sponsored by these guys, because as amazing as it is, I can't justify putting 800 quid into something that's a model which costs more than the majority of my working cars. I appreciate it's an official Lamborghini, but it costs more than the car that got me here today, and the car that's parked at home, and the car that I've just put into the shed. I made poor decisions.
I like this. It's really cool Freightliner kit. I like this. It's a really cool Volvo truck. I like trucks, okay? I like trucks. These are really cool, and a pretty good deal as well. I wonder if they'll...
Now most of you will know Model U from the fact that they made a miniature me, and they do an awful lot of 00 and O gauge railway figures. But if you saw the video where I went and got scanned, you'll have seen that they were developing these guys. Yes, they're doing Aircrew and RAF guys. Now, these are all now available to buy, and that's quite exciting. These ones have been painted because they come like this. But next year, they're going to start releasing the version of these guys that are printed in colour, and we saw some of those in the video, so you can see some of the early versions of that in that video that's up there. But these are genuinely really cool, and 3D printed in colour is going to be amazing for people like me who can't paint.
One thing I really like about the TMC stand is they've got this sort of covered hallway. It's very cool, and it's full of things I want. I can't move that one, things will fall off. Churchill tank, space shuttle and launch tower. Oh, I don't think I can fit this one in my car, it's a bit big.
So as you know, TMC do a lot of weathering and modelling services, like repainting and these stunning wagons down here that have all been graffitied up, which look superb. But Howard is telling me they've got a new service.
Of course, every company needs to evolve. You need to look at what the market needs, and we're now introducing a customization service for military kits and models.
That's really good.
Isn't it just? And of course, we will work with charities. So we've got our weathering graffiti service that's well known and loved on our rolling stock. And we're just trying it out in the market. So whether that's emblems that you have on aircraft, on the noses, things like that people are familiar with, to just stuff for fun.
That is superb. The level of detail on that is phenomenal.
Isn't it?
Look at the detail of the ships on there.
Yes, yeah. So if you've got a model that you'd like to have customised, get in touch with us at TMC and we'll make it happen for you.
Before he let me loose to go and enjoy the show, Howard wasn't impressed with my overview of Porsche and was determined to change my mind.
If you've ever wondered what the contents of Porsche's 1:8 scale 312-piece Porsche 917 contain, then feast your eyes on this. Die-cast components here, as you can see in this part. It's a very heavy model.
Yeah, it's also huge.
Yes, it's big, isn't it? 1:8 scale just looks like on a box.
You've got a gearbox in there.
Yeah, you've got all the components that make up the drivetrain. You've got your hub assemblies. This is all just one solid die-cast piece of metal, and it's all screw together assembly. So everything that you need is pre-painted, which takes the faff out of model kit building, and the perfection on the paintwork, etc., etc., etc. So as long as you don't scratch it when you're building, you're golden.
And you're giving me one of these, right?
I'm not sure if we came to a conclusion on that.
I'll go to management, yeah?
Yes.
It is weird though seeing the stand not covered in model railway stuff. There was a few bits, but not as well. Normally it's entirely model railway stuff.
And on that note, we've really noticed that this is not a model railway show. Despite being a model show, we're expecting there to be more model railway stuff. So we're going to play a game. In the 3 halls here, how many locomotives can we find?
I reckon 15.
I'm going to go less than 10.
Oh.
There's not much.
Oh.
Looking at all of the stands with literally thousands of models in attendance, we would forgive you for thinking that we were being a tad pessimistic with our expectations of how many locomotives we might find. But as we started to go and explore the halls, we found that our initial guesses were indeed in the right ballpark. Whilst there were loads of stunning models, hundreds of planes and tanks, locomotives were few and far between. But excluding the rather painful lack of locomotives, the standard and variety of models was absolutely outstanding. There was so much to look at, and it wasn't long before I'd found something different.
One of the things I really like is this display full of Zeppelins, airships. It's something I have never seen modelled before, and it's something really different. Also, airships are huge and these are tiny, so the amount of details that have been packed into a tiny, tiny space is really quite impressive. It's really cool seeing all sorts of modelling, different things being shown off.
Some people had a lot of fun with their modelling, like this RAF liveried X-Wing. I was not prepared for the sheer scope of the amount of models. I'd expected planes, tanks and cars, but the sheer variety and how many outstanding models completely blew my mind. And as somebody who's a bit of a connoisseur for mechanical marvels, there were so many interesting models that took my attention. And then, to my delight,
We found trains. That's 1 locomotive, 2 locomotive, 3 locomotive, 4 and 5, all Ethics.
there were also a load of stunning dioramas, like this one depicting a winds-heavy haulage move, which is my kind of thing entirely.
One of the things we've seen a few of are dioramas. This is probably the biggest that we've seen here. And it's amazing, and it's a way of capturing the carnage and detail of war that you don't really get to see. It's very, very cool, and just the amount of detail going on. Like, there are men running in all directions doing things. Every single one of these buildings has men in it in some form of army guise. I don't know enough about military to really say a huge amount about what's going on, other than it's very cool and there's just lots.
It soon became apparent that the most common thing to model were military vehicles, and of that, the most common type of vehicle were planes. A good 50% of all the models in all 3 halls were aeroplanes. There were so many different types, and frankly, I didn't even realise there were that many kinds of planes. It was quite the experience. And it wasn't just military aircraft that were represented, there were a massive number of civilian aircraft as well, like this collection showing the airliner through the ages, and seeing so many well-known aircraft that I did recognise next door to others was a really interesting display.
I love the Harrier jump jet. It is the pinnacle of aircraft. We have not had anything as good since the Harrier, and we won't have anything as good again. It was an aircraft that could fly up, backwards, forwards, sideways. It's an amazing aircraft, and seeing it modelled just brings me so much joy because they're such an iconic and amazing aircraft. Particularly that one that's hovering. That's just really cool. I really, really, really like the Harrier.
And when I say that over 50% of the models in attendance were aircraft, I really do mean it. It's not an exaggeration. Everywhere you looked, there were more aircraft in a huge variety of different scales, shapes and colours. That's not to say that there weren't other things mixed in between, like dinosaurs here. But planes were certainly the flavour of the day, although sometimes there were other things mixed in amongst the planes.
And over there, locomotive number 6.
Having walked around the show and had a look at all sorts of things for quite a few hours now, everything is incredibly well modelled, it's incredibly pretty, incredibly well detailed. But there's a lot of military stuff. And military stuff's really cool, don't get me wrong, but it's really nice to see cars, honestly, at the different sizes and scales, and just makes a model. Who makes a model of a Volvo? Who makes a model of an old Volvo? Someone does, because it's here. But who? Some things I get, like the police Range Rover, that's very cool. Volvo,
Leaving Lozz to question the existence of model Volvos, I wandered off taking in some more cars, and then I came across a different kind of military stuff.
As a Warhammer nerd, love a Thunderbolt.
Although possibly my favourite model in the whole show was this Borg cube, complete with USS starships attacking it. And then there were these guys.
I love Daleks. Something else that's interesting is these here. These are things from Jerry Anderson, and this is my childhood. We have things like Fireball, XL5, Stingray, Thunderbirds, and of course, the invincible, indestructible Captain Starlet. This is all my childhood. Oh, and Space 1999, the future which we never got. I grew up on this stuff, and I love the design of these vehicles, and seeing them in model form is just so cool. They're awesome.
And keeping on the theme of the moving picture was this display full of model vehicles from famous productions. Things like the Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters, the cars from Need for Speed, Smokey and the Bandit, Lady Penelope's Rolls-Royce, cars from James Bond like the famous Underwater Esprit, and many, many others. And hiding amongst the stars of the screen was the locomotive from Back to the Future 3, complete with the DeLorean.
Submarines! I know nothing about submarines. I've never seen them modelled before, really, so this is really cool. It's a tube and it goes underwater and somehow that works? I don't know. This one's got missile silos open.
Something I really appreciate are dioramas, where they take the model and place it in its environment and make it just a little bit more than just a model. It's telling a story.
Something I love is we have a diorama here of a First World War Whippet, and then next door to it, a Baneblade from Warhammer.
And huddled amongst the dioramas was another locomotive. This time, it was a big boy. And then we found something that was absolutely amazing. A stand with Airfix models for you to sit down, build and paint at the show. And as neither of us had built an Airfix kit in quite some time, we decided to abandon all further filming and sit down and build a Spitfire.
It's been a very long time since I've built Airfix, and this is an amazing thing that the guys here are doing to allow idiots like him and me to have a go at building Airfix. Now, I think this is a simple kit.
Mine doesn't look like it does on the instructions.
Oh no, there's clear stuff in here as well. So I think this is a really cool way to get people involved and actually doing something.
So I got stuck straight in.
I've just made a load of pieces.
Step one is your man, and then you do the little cockpitty bit, and then you do the outside.
Oh, I was just cutting stuff out.
You're going to lose bits.
I've got a fuselage and wings.
They're not together though, are they? So you haven't?
I haven't looked at the instructions, I'll be honest.
That much was evident.
Do I paint the man first?
Well, this is what I'm contemplating, because I don't think we're going to be able to paint the seat once the man's in it.
And having studied the instructions a little more, we concluded that indeed, once the model was assembled, we wouldn't be able to paint the pilot. So we set about adding some paint. But there was one tiny problem.
I don't think they've given me flesh colours.
Though some of us had bigger problems.
How do I unlid the paint?
Can you not do paint?
Hold on. I've worked it. Oh,
that's... What colour is that meant to be?
silver.
As we progressed with our pilots, I had a sudden revelation.
I've become very aware that it's only children that are sat on this stool doing it. It's you and me, it's two adults. And everybody else is kids.
Undeterred by this revelation, we carried on painting our pilots.
I used to really enjoy painting and doing modelling, and it's been so long since I've had the time to actually, sit down and paint something and actually build a model. This is wonderful.
It's hot.
It's not hot.
I'm drying my metal.
It might be wet, but it's not hot. If it's got hot, something's gone really, really badly wrong.
That said though, Lozz was gluing stuff together and doing better than me.
Oh, I painted over my instructions to how it's meant to go together.
And even though I couldn't read the instructions, I'd started painting my seat assembly, and Lozz was sticking even more things together.
Oh, I just glued myself.
Which wasn't on the instructions. My long dormant skills from painting Warhammer were coming flooding back to me, but I still had issues.
I've got colour 56 for these, that's silver. What's 98 or 86? That is not the same colour. It's a lovely sky blue, but that's not the kind of browny colour I was looking for.
To be fair, I thought I was doing a good job, but Jakub disagreed.
There's more paint on your fingers than on the stick.
Yeah, there actually is.
Regardless, we were both really enjoying it, and Lozz had started putting his fuselage together, whereas I had successfully built a chair.
I have completed step 1. It is gluing, and I am not going to touch it ever again. Look, I thought it was a 6-bladed propeller. I was like,
Yeah. But this blade comes up there, round there, and then down there. It's a really fancy one.
I'm enjoying myself. I'm having so much fun making a plastic plane. I think it might be a Spitfire, but I couldn't tell you for sure because I am a model man. I'm good at making models. I have not built an FX kit for at least, I think, 20 years. That's the thing that just blows our mind. We thought there was going to be like a charge for this, of which we were like, that's totally worth it. But they were like, no, just sit down and do it, which is just outstanding that this is a free thing to do to get people into modelling. It's superb, absolutely superb. And it's working, so I want to buy more kits.
Look. Holding it together with a peg.
You can't steal the peg.
Oh no.
How have you broken?
I'm not skilled at pegging.
What? Not only did you steal the peg, you've broken the peg.
I can't fix the peg because I've got to hold this, otherwise it falls apart. Can I have one of those pegs?
I'm just fixing the peg that you broke.
Have you repaired the peg? May I have the peg?
Okay. It's both genius and stupid.
Whilst Lozz's Spitfire was drying, I'd elected to paint bits first and had mixed up some khaki paint.
Look at that. That is... Sometimes I'm so good I amaze myself. This is not one of those times.
Lozz hadn't painted his, but did have something that now resembled a plane.
You see his little control there, look.
I'll leave you to come to your own conclusion that if the control stick moving was through design or ineptitude on behalf of Lozz.
You're the reason we're not allowed nice things.
I was catching up with Lozz and flawlessly put my fuselage together.
Stay. Good. Right. And unlike yours, turning prop. I now need to make some more of my olive because I've put my fingers all over me front. Turns out, I'm not very good at this. The good news is, I'm better than him.
I've dropped a bit.
So that's something.
And whilst Lozz searched for his missing pieces, my Spitfire was taking shape.
Oh, look at you. Well, I have realised I have a massive panel gap in front of the pilot. Like, something that would make Tesla proud.
And with my main build complete, it was time to paint. Although Lozz, having found his missing piece, was very much ahead of me and had his Spitfire pretty much finished. However, mine was coming on well, and I was quite pleased with how it was starting to look. And then Howard from TMC appeared.
So we're progressing well. I've got a couple of bits to stick on the bottom.
Are we having fun?
Howard had come over to inquire how the video of the show that TMC had invited us to come and shoot was getting on, and suggested in the nicest possible way that maybe we should return to the halls and stop building plastic aircraft. A suggestion that we promptly ignored, as we were now fully committed to completing our Spitfires to the very best standard that we could manage.
So I just need to glue this together, put that on. Do you know what? Considering we are inept, I'm genuinely impressed with what we've achieved.
That hit me in the head.
The final stage was to give the model a black wash. For the uninitiated, this is a watered down black paint that runs into all of the crevices and makes the model look a million times better.
And just like that, I am done.
You've actually finished?
Yes.
Finally.
How long have you been waiting?
The hours changed multiple times.
So I'm going to be honest, we thought this was going to be a quick thing we'd do and just, have a bit of fun. But we've been here 3 hours. It's been a great thing to do at the show. Absolutely one of the best things I've ever seen at a show like this, allowing idiots to have a go and actually get involved in the hobby. At least I feel way more invested in all of this and also appreciate the work that's gone into so much of this, having done that.
You've missed a bit.
No, I haven't. It's fine.
You've missed a bit.
Have I?
Thus began a frantic search through the sprues to try and find the tiny part.
Not that sprue.
Eventually, we found the tiny detail piece and I was able to complete my model.
That's it.
So having finished our amazing Spitfires, it's time to go and see if we can put them on the TMC stand and see if they will put them on prime location so we can show off our workmanship to the world. And then we have to see the rest of the show.
We successfully snuck back onto the TMC store and placed our Spitfires in a prime location before heading out back into the halls with a newfound appreciation for model aircraft.
Having just spent 3 hours building the model Spitfire, it was really good fun, but it really makes you appreciate the quality, the attention to detail, and the effort that must go into building some of these that are so beautifully modelled and painted. And look at the propellers. It's got tiny little, like, almost hairs they look like on them to give the aspect that they're spinning. That's really cool.
Moving away from the planes, we found this spaceship. And then I stumbled across something that I thought was even cooler. In fact, it was even cooler than the tanks, the planes, the trucks, all here combined.
I like stuff which says you're not allowed to touch it, but it does say below. That's really cool.
The more infantry you get, the more wind you'll get. Yeah.
I'm going to pass out. More locomotives. We have one of the massive German rail-mounted guns and 2 crease locks, bringing us to 11. I'm out.
This is a cool display, all the tanks. It's different eras from sort of, I see World War II things up to more modern stuff. I'm not that brilliant with tanks, but I like all the different variations of tanks, like minesweepers and things. And you've got the interior of that one on display as well. That's very cool. The time taken to build these must be immeasurable.
With the seemingly exception of locomotives, Lozz and I were amazed how many forms of modelling were embraced at the show. More than just your standard planes and tanks and cars, but things like Gundam fitted right in and felt like they were part of the show as well, which personally I thought were really cool because giant fighting mobile suits are awesome.
Something unusual and different that I've not seen modelled, again, are rocket ships. I particularly like things like the Saturn V because that's a big model, and having seen one in Kennedy, that's a big thing to start off with. So something different and exciting, get a sense of just the scale of these things. Bearing in mind, that was your Apollo module up there that went to the moon. The rest of that was just a rocket getting up there. And then behind it, we've got Starship on its new booster, showing what a big spacecraft we have on a smaller booster compared to that. So it's really cool seeing them side by side to see how things have evolved. And also just rockets are cool.
Also cool are crease locks, which are the most popular locomotive at the show, and this Class 37, which was one of the few diesels.
I really like the way that this has been modelled. Like, it's not enough to just build an incredibly detailed model. It's then being displayed on this amazing diorama with like the background of the runway and the smoke and the clouds, and it's just bursting through it. It's incredible. It really is amazing.
One of the things that really managed to grab our attention was this diorama of a floating bridge. It really managed to convey the sheer scale and size and engineering challenge of putting one of these things up. And keeping on a water theme, I'm a big fan of these tiny models of ships. So much detail crammed into such a tiny model of a massive thing. And then we found another crease lock.
Fighter planes, World War II ones, I think. I don't know much about warplanes. I think these can be referred to as warbirds, because that's what they can be referred to as. I don't know, it's a thing. They're very cool. Again, just the quality and the attention to detail is outstanding. Some of them have the cockpit open, you can see inside, and it's madness.
These are significantly better than the ones we've built.
So I just said that I don't know much about planes, but I do know about one plane, and that's this blue thing here. It's an F4U Corsair, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comments, hey. The wings fold up, and then it goes in aircraft carriers. And that's how that used to work.
Without any doubt, one of the most impressive dioramas of the whole show was this one depicting the D-Day landings preparations. There was so much detail packed into it, and it really felt like it was alive with a sense of urgency of the upcoming operation. And then we found our final train, the Rapido APT. With the end of the show looming, we began to make our way back to TMC, taking our final looks at this frankly incredible show. There was so much to look at, and the quality of the models had been so outstanding, we had frankly been spoilt for choice of things to look for. And frankly, in this video, we didn't do the quality of the models justice, nor see enough of the show.
So that brings us to the end of the day here with TMC at, what is this? Model World?
Model something.
Yeah, model thing. It's been an amazing show. There's been so much to look at. I have absolutely loved it. So a massive thank you to TMC for inviting us along. It's been great. We saw 16 trains.
Does that mean I'm closest?
Yeah, that means you win.
You pay for dinner!
It was a bad bet to take on. But it's been an amazing show. Recommend coming and checking it out next year. There's been so much to see. We have seen none of it, mostly because we built a lot of time building Airfix. But check out TMC, link in the video description to go see the stuff on the website, including their new weathering service for things like tanks, which are cool. And with that, we'll see you next time. If you have enjoyed this, how about clicking on his face there for another show video, or down there for another similar video. I don't know, I'll put something there. But thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and let us know in the comments below what you thought. And let us know what your favourite model was down there as well.
Which plane was better?
Oh yeah, which plane was your favourite? There were a lot of planes.
On and out of ours.
Oh, ours, yeah. Which of our planes was the better plane?
We are TMC and we do kits by them.
Thank you. And this is for me.